Hello, hello, Edson Oliveira here. This is the DNN monthly chat. Today is January, it's a Saturday, January 27th. That's when we are recording this. And I have with me one of my partners in crime. I have Joe Craig here. Scott is not in yet. I don't know if he will come, I don't know if he will not. But it's just myself and Joe. Joe, how are you?
I'm great, Addison. Looking forward to what? Less than 2 weeks from right now.
Less than 2 weeks, actually, just a little bit over, 9 days now that we're gonna be meeting face to face in Denver for DNN Summit. But we're gonna talk a little bit more in depth about that, and I know that you always have some updates there. You always have some things to talk about DNN Summit. I'm gonna start with explaining who the baby, because you cannot see that, Joe, but I have a baby in front of me. And the baby,
I bet I know who it is.
and the baby is from, Clint Patterson. Clint, I just want to, salute you, congratulate you for your newborn baby, big baby, Noah Ray Patterson. He was born in January 23rd, just a few days ago, and I guess that Clint is very busy with diapers and baby stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think they got a little surprise as the baby arrived a couple of weeks earlier than had been promised.
yeah,
But that's better. That's better than 2 weeks late, which was what happened for our first child many years ago, and it was like. Those last 2 weeks when you're just sitting around waiting for something to happen is get you prepared. I think Scott just arrived.
Yeah, Scott arrived. Yeah. So let him get settled.
So good for Clint, good for Holly, good for the Patterson and greater family.
Yes. It's always good to have the community growing there. And Clint, now you don't have an excuse not to join us for DNN Summit, But hey, maybe you're gonna still be based there. I don't know. But again, it's no longer an excuse. Scott, good to have you around. How are you?
I still can't seem to get the Eastern Central Time Zone.
Okay, and that's why I stress on my emails.
I know
Eastern time, but that's fine. That's okay. All good.
Sorry.
We just got started. Actually, I was just talking about giving my congratulations to Clint about his newborn baby. But so we just got started. We just got started. So
you should find the picture from Facebook of Mitchell Sellers at 2 or 3 months and his son at 2 or 3 months.
Okay, good.
Side by side pictures. Terrific.
Okay, that's it, Clint. I want to give a big shout out for the Facebook group, user group. I don't get tired of stressing how that group is useful and helpful. Whenever I come across a problem that I have not been able to solve, or someone in my team is not able to address that, and we have been hammering on that for hours, I go to the DNN Facebook user group, I post a message there, within an hour or so, I have a good answer there. I have the problem addressed right from there. So again, I want to give a big shout out, and in particular for this particular problem that I had in the past week. It was not a big deal. I mean, the 404 page was not coming up. The one that was coming up, it was the default IIS one. And Ryan Moore jumped right away. He gave me a few pointers, and one of the pointers was the right solution. So again, very, very helpful group. I really highly recommend that if you haven't joined that group yet, please do so. If you need help, again, there's always someone there to give you helping hands. That's really it. The DNN Connect group on Facebook. Have you guys used that group a lot? I mean, do you guys join there a lot?
Oh yeah, and there are a couple of other Facebook groups, and I never know which one I'm in. But yeah, great.
Yeah.
great place to get help. I think the only, I'd say, downside is that it's not as public or not known as well as, say, the Ask a Question section or the forums at DNN Software. So
I get it.
Sometimes I feel bad about going there because whatever your problem is and the answers you get are not there 6 months or 2 years down the road for somebody else to use.
I get it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. I mean, I've joined the awareness group, and I think that you are in the awareness group as well. And that seems to be a point of I guess a discussion of what is the best place to post questions to leverage the kind of maybe the SEO juice that generates. I don't know. Is there any conclusion at this point? Is there any direction there?
No, and I think kind of our general feeling at this point is that the more places that there are, it actually might be better. In the sense that we're getting the word out about DNN, we're getting help to people in a forum that they're happy to use. Some people don't like the forums. Some people don't like the Q&A part of the DNN software website. Other people like Stack Overflow, but the biggest issue for the community of people who are helpers is, have we got everything covered?
I guess.
Because there's no official DNN core coverage of any of these areas. Scott and Chris Hammond, I always see over on Stack Overflow, but I don't think that area is known as well to people who are not, say, developers.
Yep.
So for the awareness group, our mission is to increase awareness of DNN, not to necessarily provide support.
I get it. Okay, that's a fair point. And I guess it's really about answering questions wherever people are asking, whether it was in the Facebook user group, whether it's in the forum, whether it's even, DNN here, we still have questions going on there as well. So again, wherever people are asking, we just have to answer that. And those are what? Those are different channels. That's it. And we have to have people listening on those different channels so they can be addressed accordingly. Go with the information where people are talking. That's really it. So I think that's a fair point. And
I think for the things like the DNN Connect group and the other DNN related areas on Facebook, there's probably a higher density population of quote unquote heavy hitters in the DNN community. So yeah, you're right. If you've got a burning question, if you ask it over there, you stand a much greater likelihood of getting an answer and getting an answer in a timely fashion.
Very true.
If it became very popular, that advantage would probably go away.
I get it. No, you're right. And the other thing that I want to point is that at least the Facebook user group, the DNN Connect, it's not just about questions, it's about announcements, it's about keeping up with what's going on in the community, the events, the webinars and people announcing things. And so again, it's not just about questions, it's about interaction as well.
Sure. And just let me just throw in one more little piece. If you're on Twitter, follow at DNN Awareness. That robot user is essentially retweeting anything it can find that has DNN CMS or DNN other things, so that if you follow that one account, you'll probably see everything or most everything that's happening on Twitter about
Right.
DNN.
Yep, and that's actually a point in the agenda. I just have to get that agenda earlier to you guys. I know that. I know it's really my fault.
Oh, it's worth repeating it several times during the show.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's it. Big shout out for the Facebook user group. Now, I want to jump to. I had a quick preview, a quick look, actually today in the morning, a quick look at DNN 9.2, just a nightly build, because every night there is a new build done with whatever has been deployed to that to DNN. There's an alpha version, and yeah, I see some new things there. I see the connectors connecting with Azure to. I think that's supposed to be a place to store, files, to store resources in general. So there is a connection, there is a connectors option there in the interface of DNN 9.2. There is also prompt is there. I saw prompt as well. I saw a brand new pages administration interface, which is way more user-friendly than what it is right now on DNN 1 and DNN 1.1. So there's a new pages admin interface.
You mean DNN 9, not DNN 1.
9.1 and 9.1. So so DNN 9 general, there is a new pages admin, which was not very friendly. I have to say, it's a bit wonky to work with, but there is a new page administration on DNN 9.2, so it's already done. However, I don't see a new file management yet. Maybe this is underway. Maybe this will be postponed. I don't know, but I don't see a new file management implemented yet on DNN 9.2. I assume that DNN 9.2 will be coming in this quarter. That's what has been announced in the first quarter of 2018. But I don't think that it will come before DNN Summit.
Yeah, I think April Fool's Day is probably the target date. I wouldn't be surprised if it dropped back into April.
Got it. Yeah, that's possible. Okay, so keep going here. Let me go back to my main screen. Want to highlight the last meeting of Southern Fried DNN user group. And if you are interested in understanding more about the different licensing structures of different modules and different vendors, some are based on a domain, some are based on a single DNN install, DNN instance. So again, if you want to understand more about that, there's a very good conversation led by Ryan Moore, and David Poindexter was there as well. It's an hour and a half long, but it's very comprehensive, and they not only talk about that from a user point of view, from a consumer of modules point of view, but also from a vendor standpoint. And they had as guests, they had Mandip Singh from Mandips, and Kelly, I'm gonna try your last name here, Weatherall from Smith Consulting. Again, they are the creators of modules like the Razor Cart and Smith Cart, which was replaced by Razor Cart. So again, we had the point of view of vendors as well, and even discussions going from the perspective of, is that worth to have a single central point of licensing information developed by DNN Corp, by the corporation. So again, lots of interesting discussions. An hour and a half if you want to get to know a little bit more about licensing of modules, and I think that can be extrapolated to skins as well, to themes. That's a good presentation, a good discussion, a good round table. It was actually a round table.
Yeah, I thought that it's a bit of an insider discussion, as most of it revolved around what developers do, what developers would like to do. But I thought the interesting thing there was that everyone who chimed in had a different point of view, and there wasn't a, yes, we should go off and do this, or we should ask DNN Corp to go off and do this. That you got some insight into the challenges that people who make a living creating and selling extensions for DNN, what their business concerns are, and it's a much more complicated issue for them than us outsiders who just buy the modules and want it licensed immediately have to deal with.
That's true, and I heard an interesting point from Kelly there. I mean, yeah, that's a point that, I mean, could be potentially addressed or having a single point of, licensing, but maybe at this point in time there are bigger fish to fry than that one. But anyway, not only from a vendor but from a consumer of modules as well. If you want to understand more about licensing of modules and themes, you should check that one out. Moving along here, we have something new from our friend David Poindexter from NVisual Native called NV Quick Theme. I haven't had a chance to put it to a test drive yet because, to be honest, I just came across this, just 2 or 3 days ago. However, I follow up with David, and he said that they are, just doing the final tweaks to the NV Quick Theme. It is supposed to be a basic theme building framework for DNN. Again, I haven't got my hands around it yet, but I think that the idea is if you need to create or even need to learn, how to put together a theme for DNN, this might be another good starting point. Again, I don't know all the ins and outs. There is a good README that you can actually, if you want, you can actually go to those links that I'll be sharing and download this right away and start to test. There is a README that will step-by-step guide you through how you can put this in place. My intention is very shortly after DNN Summit, I want to do one of my DNN tip of the week around NV Quick Theme. If David follows the same principles of NV Quick Site, which is very simple to use, very useful. I mean, again, I use that every single week. We're gonna have a very interesting new tool to play around and help us, put together themes for DNN. Guys,
yeah, hats off to David. Sometime in the last year, he got a new box of Wheaties or something that he's really kind of come out of the woodwork on a real creative streak. And with a slightly different idea, and DNN themes have kind of been bursting out of the forehead of my brain recently, that I'm kind of changing my approach to themes, that I have been using open source themes, and particularly a couple that Jeff Barlow developed. And I've recently been working on another site where we made the decision to purchase a commercial theme, and it's got some really nice features, that have been developed with users in mind. Theme also comes with some pre-developed test websites for certain niche markets, like say a restaurant.
Yep.
Or a church, and some others. You can probably figure out which theme I'm talking about from that description. But lots of the jQuery and Bootstrap short codes built into the theme, so that you don't have to recreate them on your own. And so I'm working my way through that, and somewhere a nice mixture of the two I think is the right, because with the commercial theme, there's some limits to what you can do to it. If you want to then be able to use the tools that come with the theme to customize it. But if you need to customize beyond that, once you have done that, you can't go back.
Very true. Very true.
Without. I'm very interested to see what the envisionative theme looks like. And I've gotten some hints that there are some other things that begin with NV Quick.
Yeah.
That he's got on the drawing board.
I was going to mention, but I don't have any inside information on that one. But he mentioned to me something about something called NV Quick Admin. So again, I don't know what that entails. I don't know what that is. But hey, again, it coming from David and having the bar up there with NV Quick Site as the bar to attain to, I would assume that this will bring a lot of, how the way he put it, a lot of NV Quick love to the DNN space.
Yeah, I noticed on either Facebook or Twitter, they have T-shirts with the lightning bolt and NV Quick on them. So I'm hoping to pick up one or two of those in Denver.
And fidget spinners as well. I mean, he has fidget spinners too.
I don't need any more.
Okay. Anyway, very good, David. Again, keep going. Let us know. I mean, once you said that you have a few things to tie up, and I'll be glad to do a tip of the week just around NV Quick theme. Moving on here. Community showcase. So now there is a devoted page, a page on the DNN software devoted to showcase websites developed with DNN. Right now, it's called the Community Showcase. There is a list of over 150 sites right now, and Clint, who's the one behind this, is leading this within the corp. He put together a community blog post showing what are the requirements for someone to submit a new site to be showcased in the community showcase. The site, of course, must be running DNN, must be mobile friendly, it must be pleasing to the eye. That's very subjective, Clint, but what might be pleasing to my eyes might not be pleasing to your eyes, but that's the reason why there's a process that you submit the site that you want to show up there. And then I guess that Clint and the team there will have a look and see if it's up to par to be displayed in the community showcase. One thing that I'll challenge, and actually I should share this with him, and maybe this is part of the awareness group. I don't know who's leading, more from a high level, this initiative. But yes, we can see a bunch of sites here, and actually we can filter based on, I want to see educational sites or e-commerce sites or community sites. I mean, there are a few categories here. However, I would ask the question, I'll pose the question, what else this could be helpful for? I mean, how can this go one step beyond? And I'll give an example. I come across a nice site that I really like this feature here. So how can I go about going the next step here? How can I maybe engage whoever built that site? Maybe reach out to them. Would there be any process that we could follow through on that, or to get more details about that implementation? I mean, again, I'm just trying to see if there would be a way to make this even more useful, aside from just being a show, and by just, I'll put in quotes, aside from being a showcase, how can this be taken to, one notch above that, which is, I want to talk to whoever put this together. Are they willing to? I mean, how can that be done? At this point, the only thing that I would think about is I'm going to reach out to Clint and see if we can figure out who put this together. So just posing the point there. I mean, Scott, what do you think? I mean, any views there?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I would just say, I think doesn't it tell you when you roll over the images
There
who
is
submitted it?
there is a bit of information there, but
But yeah, I agree with you. Like maybe when you roll over, have a little contact button where you can contact the person who submitted the site so you can ask them about it.
yeah,
That'd be a nice little, yeah.
little plus. And hey, I can understand that maybe some people would not want to be bothered by that. I get that. So maybe that could be an optional piece when submitting the site. Are you willing to? I don't know. Are you willing to receive inquiries about the site?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like Craigslist, when you post an ad, you say, "Are you willing to let your phone number be displayed or whatever?" Or yeah,
something like that. Again, just a quick note there, and I'll follow up with that with Clinton in the group there. Okay, moving on here. So again, 150 sites, so very very well put together and very nice sites. And funny thing is that over my years in the DNN space, my years in the DNN space, now I have over close to 11 years. I can recognize some of those sites that we may have touched here and there, and I see some of those here. But anyway, just a side note. Moving on.
The hard part about showcases is keeping them current.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the interesting point. I mean, I used to have a showcase, and here and there when I visit one of those sites, okay, it's no longer DNN. Okay, so let me remove it.
Yeah.
Or
it's just old.
Or you go and it's not a DNN site anymore.
That's
right.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. So anyway, there's a blog post from Clint. So he explains more details of how to submit and what they are looking for here. I just got this yesterday, and I wanted to bring that up in our news here. It's just a note. I got yesterday a note from Smith Consulting that, and this is not only applicable to them, but applicable to anyone out there that might be using authorized.net as their payment gateway, their payment processor. So the notes basically says that authorized.net is shutting down support for TLS 1.0 and 1.1. The day that they're shutting down is February 28th. However, they'll be doing a temporary shutdown on January 30th and February 8th. I guess it's just a nudge to. And if your site stops working those days, you know that, I have to do something about that. Again, getting very close to the deadline. And if you're not sure, and if you use Smith Consulting, Smith Cart, or one of the products from Smith Consulting, you may want to reach out to them. Not only them, but if you use any commerce application there that may rely on authorized.net, you may want to follow up with your vendor, with the person, the company that put that solution together for you, because you might get impacted by authorized.net shutting down support for TLS 1 and 1.1. So just a note here, just a side note. So,
and by the way, that's not just authorized.net. Salesforce went through this. I mean, there's a lot of integrators that are, and it's if anybody in the community has questions about what does that mean, for maybe a custom module, they can maybe contact me. I've dealt with this with Salesforce integration and other things.
Awesome. I also know that there's something going on with PayPal as well. There is a, and I keep forwarding that to me in the future, but the future is coming up very closely, which is about some changes to the PayPal certificate or something like that. Anyway, just it may or may not be related to this, but that's a good point, Scott. It's not only authorized.net, but people are, companies are shutting down TLS 1 and 1.1. So Joe stole my thunder a little bit there, but that's fine. We can talk about that again. So if you are interested to keep in touch with what's going on within the social space and DNN, and usually what's going on in the social Spaces, what's going on in DNN, you can follow the Twitter account called DNN Awareness. Our friend David Poindexter, he put together some stuff here, and what I understand is that anywhere that is mentioned DNN or DNN CMS, then this account will retweet that post. So if you want to keep posted on what's going on in the community in general, in the social space in DNN, you may want to follow at DNN Awareness account on Twitter. Okay, moving along here. We have, a few weeks ago, we have the DNN MVP meeting, which now gets posted live, the full recording, except I think that the very end where they open up and they stop recording. And if anyone has anything that they don't want to be publicly available, they have a segment there. But anyway, there's a new video for the last meeting, and a lot of that meeting was around the ecosystem advisory groups. Each leader, each one of the 4 leaders of each advisory group, they gave a small presentation there to give a status update of how their group is doing, what are the initiatives. So again, very, very good to see those groups coming alive. I have joined 2. I have been quiet on both of them, but I try to do my share with about DNN awareness with the videos and our chat. So again, if you are interested to follow up and to understand a little bit more what each group is supposed to be doing and maybe engage one of those groups, you should definitely watch the last MVP meeting, where each leader gave a little bit of a presentation there. What else? Actually, because I joined the meeting, but I dropped out at some point when I rewatched the meeting. It sparked my interest again to maybe reactivate my local DNN user group. Actually, just before starting our recording today, I reached out to my good buddy, my friend, my local friend here, Paul Scarlett. He used to lead the local user group, and I'm gonna try to reconnect with that and put together that group again. Let's see if I'm able to pull that together locally, and hopefully that will contribute a little bit to our awareness group. So again, that inspired me to try to get that group together again. I know that there's something going on with the awareness group about that. Joe, do you know anything about that?
Well, I think from the MVP meeting, I think the story is that the 4 awareness groups, this was really January was the opportunity for them to get started in doing things that, let's face it, not a whole lot happens in North America between early November and after the first of the year. But things like user groups and what can we do to encourage the formation of user groups? Are there resources that can be made available to help user groups get started is within the purview of the awareness advisory group. Yep. Something that goes along with that is a speaker bureau, where essentially putting together a list of people who are ready, willing, and able to show up somewhere and lead a discussion. And I think the Southern Pride Group has pioneered having people appear at a user group without actually having to maybe drive or get on an airplane. But there may be cases where it would be helpful to have someone show up in person to do something. So creation of user groups, creation of a speakers bureau that can be used to support not only local user groups, but get out to other events, submit sessions, and do talks. There's always a code camp or something like it going on somewhere that will be at the top level, figuring out what our role is in doing that, and we are an advisory group, volunteers without a bank account, but it may be possible to get resources from DNN Corp if it, and I think if it looks like that what is within our plan is something that they feel would be helpful to the growth of the corporation.
So
events like DNN Summit, DNN Connect, those sorts of things.
Got it. But what you are also mentioning there, if I got that right, is that you were talking about outreach programs that we go out of our, let's call it our bubble, and then we explore some other, and we interact with some other adjacent, I guess, topics or conferences. Correct? Is that also what you're mentioning?
Sure. And in terms of DNN awareness, what does that really mean? Do you want people who are already connected to DNN to become more aware of what's going on?
I get it.
Or do you want to reach out to communities where people say DNN who? What's that? I already have a website and it's built with XYZ CMS. Why do I want to hear about yours? There are industry groups that deal in CMS, and I think recently over the last couple of months that DNN has gotten some coverage.
Got it. I see.
In there, and in fact, we were hoping to have one of the CMS-centric organizations that does publication actually attend DNN Summit this year. I think that's not going to happen because of timing and other commitments. I don't think they have thousands of people who are just free to go to an event, but we've certainly got them on our list to let them know early when the 2019 event will occur.
Got it. Is that CMS Wire? Is that one?
I didn't say what it was because I don't remember what it was. It could well have been CMS Wire.
Yeah, I think it might be. But and there are, I think, that 2 or 3 similar publications in the CMS space. I think it might be CMS Wire.
Yeah, DNN got a fair amount of coverage with the acquisition, which was in August. And I think Dennis Zhao at DNN Corp has used that as an opportunity to keep channels open with people who covered the acquisition to keep them up to date on what's going on. So, we're in the awareness group. It's figuring out what we should be doing, where the targets are, what are the easy things to do, what are the long range things. I think one of the things that we have talked about and don't have any firm plans about is things like, should there be another DNN book? Should there be another source of tutorials? And I think one of our goals is to have regular creation and distribution of video things on YouTube. Maybe even not so much tutorials, but maybe going on with the showcase. Narrow it down to some really hot showcase sites, and maybe do a short presentation on here's the site and here's how it was put together.
Awesome. That's a very interesting idea. That's a very, very, very good. Okay. So that was the MVP meeting. Let's keep going because we still have a few more points here. Okay, so a few new blog posts in the community. the first one I want to bring to your attention is diagnosing and fixing slow pages loading in DNN sites. I love that kind of topic because, I mean, what we do a lot at DeskPaul is we do a lot of troubleshooting. So whenever we have our hands around a new troubleshooting strategy, I mean, I'm all for it. So a very good post from George Alatrash, and he's going through one of my recently, I would say, preferred strategies to troubleshoot on DNN, which is using the Log4net. It's very, very useful. I mean, I cannot tell you guys how many problems we have been able to address because we leverage Log4net. So that's the strategy that he goes through on his blog post here. Another one from this one here from, I think it's from Clint. It's about what are some of the requirements and gotchas, as he put it, on IIS when you are installing DNN for the first time. So again, things like making sure that IIS is activated, is turned on, and make sure that we have .NET Framework installed as well. So we actually do this quite a lot. We have a client that to install brand new DNN installations and new servers. So we have to go through this kind of step-by-step that Clint put together here on this post. Very useful if you have a new environment that you have to install DNN for the first time. Very good one here from Clint Patterson, the new dad, the new father.
There's a good opportunity there to build a tool that tells you what isn't there. And
I think
I've heard some words from Poindexter about a future version of NV QuickSight will not only figure out what's not there, but will offer to help you install the missing and configure the missing parts.
Yep,
by the way, we mentioned that so much. It's free, open source contribution from Envisionative to the DNN community, and that's another thing we want to encourage in the awareness group.
Awesome. Yeah. So again, it would be a great add-on, David, to NV QuickSight. So next one here is another post from George Altrash, and it's about how to fix a warning that comes up with the security analyzer related to SQL. So it's how you can address that. It's how you can, if I'm not mistaken, you will downgrade the kind of access that the user who connects the site to the database, the database user, you downgrade the access level that this user has, and that's how you can address the warning that you get on the security analyzer. This is what this post is all about from George Alatrash again. I think last one here is the DNN digest from Clint. That's the monthly digest that gets posted by Clint, summarizing what's going on in DNN in general with various sections, events, and we're going to talk about events in a second. There is a good tip section here on how to, if you lost your super user account, how can you get that? How can you get that super user account back? I've done a DNN tip of the week on that one, but there is a post, a step-by-step post here. And again, I want to thank again Clint, because I sent him an email about that. He shared our DNN9 cheat sheet. It's a sheet that we put together at DeskPaul that maps out where the feature used to be on DNN 8 and where the feature is now located on DNN 9. It's a big grid and showing where it is each and every feature, and if that feature is accessible by admins and by super users as well. So again, it's a very comprehensive list. We even put together in gray lines what is no longer available. We need to update this to reflect, I guess, at some point DNN 9.2. So thank you very much again, Clint, you give us a good spike in our traffic there on that day. Okay, moving along, not coming to an end yet. Man, we are on a roll today. Okay, so let's talk about events. But let's not get to the next week's to DNN Summit yet. Let's go to DNN Connect here. DNN Connect happening on Limerick. Am I pronouncing that right? Is that Limerick or Limerick? Does anyone know there?
I don't know, but there should be a DNN Limerick contest.
Okay, great. So Limerick, Ireland, from May 31st to June 3rd. There's a page that you can go to say that if you are going or if you're not. And Joe, I see your name there. Are you going there?
You betcha.
Okay, so tell me.
Yeah. Well, I fly out of here on the 29th of May to Shannon, Ireland, and come back the following Monday. It's a conference trip. It's not unfortunately, it's not a vacation.
Okay.
But I'm really looking forward to it. The last couple of years, I have really been jealous of people who went. And decided I would go this year.
Is that your first DNN Connect?
Yes. Yeah, and it looks very interesting. All of their previous events have been kind of in I would say not remote and isolated, but not in the heart of a big city. This one is at a university in Shannon, or is it Limerick? And the accommodations for the event look like dorm rooms. There's some pictures on the DNN Connect site. I have my tickets for air travel, and I believe that registration for the event actually opens up next week. I don't remember which date, but the last posting said in 7 days, and maybe it went up on Wednesday, so it's February the 1st.
I think I have that, Joe. So early birds is the entire month of February. Starting February 1st, you can sign up. That's the note that I saw on the DNN Facebook user group. I saw that starting from February 1st and through the whole February, you have early birds sign-ups. Great. Okay, so again, we will have more information, more updates as we go along, as we move past our next one, which is the next topic.
Yeah, well, I think that the DNN Connect call for speakers is still open. So I plan to go as an attendee and have no responsibilities for doing anything other than showing up.
Awesome. It's good to be on that mode, under fully relaxed modes. Anyway, so that's DNN Connect. Now let's go to DNN Summit here. Anything new that we haven't spoken before about that, or actually let's just reinforce the dates again. February 6th to the 10th. Start in a little bit over a week from now.
Yeah, I hop on an airplane a week from Monday.
Awesome.
The event starts on Tuesday. Full day training. You can go to DNN administration and be taught by a master, Mr. Addison Oliveira. Right. You can go to DNN for developers, and the man who apparently is expert in so many areas that you can't get him all in a tweet message. Scott Wilkinson. There he is. Yes.
Look at this.
So Scott is doing DNN for developers. Anthony Overcamp from Engage software is, it's got the longest title. It's something like DNN for front-end developers, theming, skinning, et cetera, et cetera. And for people who are new to DNN, we have an introduction to DNN session that will be led by Ryan Moore. So it's a classroom training in the morning, and the afternoon session, it will turn into a lab-based training thing so people can work with DNN, and there will be people around helping out, and Ryan will have things for you to do. Also on Tuesday afternoon, there is the free business roundtable led by Don Bishop, which will include discussions of DNN in business, and that means different things to different people. The one in Denver last year was, I thought, really great discussion. Tuesday night, there is a welcome reception in the Embassy Suites Hotel. If you're registered for the conference, you're entitled to one free drink ticket. And if that isn't enough for you at an elevated altitude, you can buy more. The conference, the DNN Summit Conference, actually is a 2-day event this year, and that's Wednesday and Thursday. Starts off bright and early Wednesday morning with an opening session and keynote address by Andy Treba, the CEO of DNN Corporation. A full day of multiple parallel sessions, and I think each time slot has 5 parallel sessions, and there are 5 slots. Yes.
Joe, let me ask you a question. What is a light breakfast?
A light breakfast, I think, is coffee, tea, pastries, that sort of thing. If you're staying at the Embassy Suites, one of the perks of staying there is they serve a heavy breakfast. They serve, breakfast, eggs, bacon, sausage, potatoes, bagels, toast, everything. With the light breakfast is more the pastries and coffee thing. So sessions, lunch. There is something going on Wednesday evening, I think, but Wednesday evening is really reserved for networking, or going out on the town in Denver. Thursday, we repeat the same sort of thing. Light breakfast starts a little later because there's no keynote. We have a closing session at the end on Thursday afternoon that will include a closing address by Sean Walker. Sean Walker, for those who don't recognize that name, created .NET Nuke way back when. Somebody can tell me when that was, but he took iBuySpy and turned it into .NET Nuke. By the way, as part of the closing session, there are going to be some prizes awarded. And one of the prizes will be to the person who can demonstrate the earliest version of DNN that is still operating and being used in a real site, not just a test site. And I saw a tweet in the last month of somebody who'd actually seen a DNN1 site on the web. Thursday night, we have our closing DNN After Dark party. Another chance for you to chat, have a good time.
Joe, let me ask you a question. Are we having, because I didn't see that anybody mentioned about that. So are we going to have those, and I'm forgetting the name. Ignite. Are we having Ignite?
I think we are.
Okay.
I haven't seen that detail yet.
Okay.
And and for those who are interested, the week doesn't stop on Thursday night, but if you want to hop on the bus Friday and go up to Winter Park, Colorado for 2 days of skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling, snow tubing, drinking, and singing, DNN on the Slopes. We'll be doing that on Thursday and Friday, and we'll get you back to the airport on Sunday morning to take your tired carcass home.
Got it. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So again, looking forward to see all of you guys there.
Yeah, and I should say that since by the time people will be seeing this, it's probably the better part of a week away from the start of DNN Summit. If you want to go, you've got about 30 seconds of hearing my voice to go and register the event, for the event. We'll actually register people right up to the very end, but particularly if you want to go to the DNN on the Slopes event, we need to get you registered so that we can buy the discounted tickets and things.
Yeah, this should be live by Monday, so Monday the 29th. One thing that I want to highlight is everyone that joined the full day training, you have received a survey. If you can put a few minutes of your time to reply to that survey, because it helps us as presenters, Scott, myself, and the other presenters as well, to guide better our presentation, to really make it suitable for what you're looking for. If you have specific questions that you want us to address them. So again, I'm really encourage you guys to submit your survey answers. We have a few, but the more the merrier. I mean, ideally 100% of people should reply to that survey. Okay.
Yeah, let me throw in a shameless plug here. Toward the end of the event, I'm doing a session which requires absolutely no special preparation for either me or the attendees. It's called Help, I Have a Question. So if you came to DNN Summit with a burning question or several, or not even a burning question, that's your opportunity to ask it. And if I can't answer it, I will find someone who can.
Awesome. Okay, last point here about the DNN Summit. I just posted a few, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, the last interview that I have done with some of the presenters. I've interviewed Lee Wise and Tracy Whitkeller. That was the last one. That was the last of, I think, 5 talks that I had with a group of presenters. So very good conversation. This is mostly about UI front end with both of them, and yeah, you should check that one out as well. That was my last one for this season. I really enjoyed doing having those conversations, but that was my last one. But I want to move forward here to new modules, themes that I came across, and I came across this one here from Evoltiva. I love Evoltiva. I really like their backup modules. They're very useful modules, and this is an open source module that I find interesting. I used to have scripts that I could run in the database directly, that I could search throughout the entire database for certain terms, certain phrases, and it would replace by something else. And this is a free tool done by Evoltiva, which is a search and replace tool. Very useful if you need something like, you change the domain of a site and you want to search through all the database entries to make sure that whenever you have a fully, a full domain specified in the path, that you could replace by a new path. I have done that quite a lot with my own scripts in the past. So if you are more technically inclined, if you need to do a full search on the database and replace, this is an interesting tool, which is free by Evoltiva. Very good module vendor in the DNN marketplace.
And I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that that module comes pre-configured and knows about certain modules and knows which tables to look at for those modules. And if you have a module that is not included, I think you can make an addition and tell it where to look. Is that right?
I'm not sure if it comes pre-configured though, Joe. To be honest, I haven't installed it yet. I think it does, and it works in a table column pair. You can say, look in this table, look in this column, try to find this. But I think it comes with pre-configured, pairs like that. Table, field name. If, for instance, one of those would be the HTML table with the HTML content. It's a very natural one that in the past, I have done, search and replace quite a lot there. But so here is...
there was an old one, and it may still be around. That was from Engage software that was absolutely terrific, but it only searched the HTML module, or maybe the HTML module and the links module. And so if you're stuck with some other things, your choices were to rebuild the module, or I think this one covers that a little bit better.
Awesome. Coming towards an end here, just want to give a bit of a plug here to my DNN tip of the week, to your DNN tip of the week. The tips are not for me, the tips are for you guys. So every week I put out a new tip. Last ones that I'm just gonna briefly mention here: how to share users across different sites, not different sites, but different portals. Portals within the same sites within the same DNN install. How to do single sign-on across subdomains within the same DNN instance. How to add Google Tag Manager to DNN out of the box without using any third-party module, and how to install a plugin to CK Editor so you can make the life of your users easier when they want to post a video from YouTube or a video from anywhere else, or some sort of a social media, or sharing a link from sites that you can share photos. So again, this plugin will make the life of your users much simpler, because they no longer have to add a full embed code to the HTML module. So it will show you how to install that plugin on CK Editor. Those are the last tips that I have put out together. That's really it. I usually have new and exciting things that are happening. I go through us and see what's going on. I think that for my side, the news and the exciting thing is really being able to join my good buddies on during the DNN Summits. That's coming within a week. That's really what's new, what excites me right now. I don't know, Joe, Scott, do you guys have anything else? Let me ask you, Scott, anything from your side? Anything else?
No, I might give you a tip of the week for next week. I tweeted on it earlier. So it's about doing custom spa tokens, which I just discovered that's possible. So other than that, no, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Joe, anything?
Sure. I got a tweet from one of my friends last week that he volunteered to come to my help session at DNN Summit and gave me a list of his areas of expertise. And not only DNN, but apparently romance and street fighting are included.
Okay.
Nothing about romantic street fighting, however. He also had some other things to say that probably should not be included in this broadcast about how he plans to prepare for this session. But Scott, I'm looking forward to your advice, and I'm like Anderson and Scott, really looking forward to DNN Summit in just a few short days.
Yeah, and this time around with one extra day. Now I have a full week, Monday to Friday, all dedicated to DNN Summit, you know, a full week, and then we have a weekend before and a weekend after. So it's an entire 9 days dedicated to DNN Summit. That's it, guys. Again, we ramble enough here. I'll see you both in Denver. I'll see you everyone in Denver. Hopefully you can, if you are joining us in Denver, please come by, say hi to me, say hi to Joe, say hi to Scott. We would love to interact and talk. So, and
tell us that you watch this thing.
Yes. I mean, I really challenge you to tell me that you went to the end, or even you may have even skipped to the very end to see if there's anything there, you know. But anyway, I'll talk again at the end of February once we are done with DNN Summit. See you guys. Bye.